Trust isn't built in grand gestures, it's built in the little things. The daily check-ins, the casual honesty, the small ways to people show they're on the same team. That's why I didn't think twice when my girlfriend announced she was heading out for a night with the girls. She came into the living room, curling her hair, dressed up in that way that always made me pause and admire her. I asked casually, "Where are you all going?" "Just a girls' night," she said lightly, glossing her lips in the hallway mirror. "Dinner? Maybe some drinks." "Don't wait up." Her tone was breezy, almost too breezy, but I brushed it off. I wanted to believe in her and us. A few hours later, though, I was sitting on the couch scrolling through my phone when her name popped up in my feed, a story notification. Normally, I'd smile, tap, and watch her laugh with her friends over cocktails. Except this time it wasn't her friends in the video. It was her ex. They were sitting close, too close, in a noisy bar. Her arm was draped casually around his shoulders, her smile wide and unbothered. The caption read, "Reunited," with a heart emoji. I just stared at it for a long moment, my chest tight, my jaw clenched. She hadn't been out with the girls. She hadn't even tried to hide it. The audacity to post it publicly like I wouldn't see, like my feelings didn't matter, was the nail in the coffin. I didn't rage. I didn't call her phone a dozen times demanding answers. Instead, I typed a simple reply to her story. "Looks fun." That was it. No accusations, no begging, just a line that said more than I could have screamed in 1,000 words. Then I stood up, went to the bedroom, and pulled out her suitcase. Not mine, hers. I packed neatly, methodically. Folded her jeans, tucked away her dresses, placed her heels side by side. Every item that belonged to her went into that single duffel bag until her half of the closet was bare. By the time I was done, the bag sat by the door like an unspoken truth, and I sat down in the silence of our apartment, waiting. When she finally came home hours later, laughter still clinging to her like cheap perfume, she stopped dead at the sight of the bag. Her smile faltered, her voice cracked. Whose bag is that?" she asked, panic lacing every syllable. I didn't even have to answer. She stepped closer, recognition dawning on her face as she realized it wasn't my things that were packed, it was hers. The panic in her voice when she whispered, "What? What is this supposed to mean?" was almost enough to make me laugh. Almost. Because in that moment she finally understood my silence had been louder than any fight could have been. Her face went pale as she set her purse down on the counter, eyes darting between me and the duffel bag by the door. "Wait, this is a joke, right?" she said, laughing nervously. "You're trying to scare me or something?" I didn't move. I didn't smile. I just sat there, arms crossed, letting the silence stretch. Her laugh cracked, dying in her throat. "Babe, seriously. You can't be mad about tonight. It wasn't what it looked like." That line, "it wasn't what it looked like," was the oldest trick in the book. And it rang hollow after she had willingly posted her little reunion on her own story for the world to see. "It looked like you lied," I said calmly. "You told me you were with the girls. You weren't. You told me not to wait up. Then you sat next to your ex like I don't exist. Which part of that am I supposed to misunderstand?" Her eyes filled with panic. "It wasn't like that. It just happened to be there. The girls invited him along. I didn't even know until I showed up." I tilted my head, watching her scramble. "So when you captioned it 'Reunited' with a heart emoji, that was, what exactly, an accident?" She flinched. The color drained from her cheeks. "I was just being playful." "You're overreacting." I stood up then, walking slowly toward the door where her bag sat. I tapped it lightly with my foot. "This doesn't look like overreacting. This looks like me taking your words seriously. You wanted freedom? You got it." Tears welled in her eyes. She rushed toward me, grabbing my arm. "Please, don't do this. He means nothing to me. You mean everything to me. Just stay." I wanted to feel nostalgic for a minute. It didn't mean I don't love you. I looked down at her hand gripping me, then met her gaze. Nostalgia doesn't need lies. Nostalgia doesn't need you sneaking around and humiliating me in front of everyone who saw that story. Do you even realize how many mutual friends follow you? How many people saw your little reunion before I did?" She blinked rapidly, tears spilling now. "I wasn't thinking. I didn't mean for it to look like that, I swear." "That's the problem," I said, pulling my arm free. "You weren't thinking about me, about us, about what respect actually means in a relationship. And I'm done being the afterthought in my own life." She looked at the duffel bag like it was a death sentence. "So what, you're just kicking me out?" After everything? I let out a breath, steady and sure. No, I'm letting you walk out. Big difference. Her mouth opened and closed like she wanted to argue, but the weight of what I said crushed whatever excuse she had left. Oh, for once, she didn't have a comeback. The silence between us stretched like a rubber band pulled too tight. She stared at me, tears sliding down her cheeks, while her duffel bag sat by the door, like a third presence in the room. Then the begging started. "Please, don't do this," she whispered, voice trembling. "You're overreacting. It was one stupid night. One mistake. Don't throw us away because of that." I shook my head slowly. "You keep saying mistake, but you made 3 choices before tonight was even halfway over. You chose to lie about where you were going. You chose to post that story. You chose to caption it like it was something to celebrate. Those aren't accidents. Those are choices." Her lips quivered. "But you're supposed to give me the benefit of the doubt. That's what couples do. They forgive." I almost laughed at that. "Forgive what? You haven't even admitted what you did was wrong. You keep spinning excuses instead of owning it." She stepped closer, desperation pouring off her. "Okay, fine. I shouldn't have lied. I shouldn't have posted. It was stupid, careless, selfish. But please, don't pack me out of your life over one slip-up. We've been through too much." I studied her, watching how her words shifted to suit whatever defense she thought might work. There were no flowers of sincerity here, just weeds of desperation. "You don't get it?" I said, my voice steady. "This isn't about your ex. This is about respect. Tonight just showed me how little of it you actually have for me." Her tears fell faster now, and she reached for my hands, trying to lace her fingers through mine. "I love you. Please, don't let this be the end. I'll do anything to make it right. I'll block him. I'll delete the story. I'll even call my friends and apologize if that's what you want. Just don't let me walk out that door." For a moment, I let her hold my hands. I wanted to see if it felt real, but all I felt was the weight of someone terrified of losing comfort, not love. "You keep saying you'll do anything," I said softly. "But all you ever did was the bare minimum? And now you're only promising because you're afraid, not because you mean it." Her face crumpled, her voice breaking into a sob. "That's not true. You're twisting everything. You're punishing me just to prove a point." I gently pulled my hands away, walked over to the door, and placed them on the handle. "If respect isn't mutual, then neither is love. And I won't live like that." Her breathing quickened, panic taking over. "Please, just talk to me. Give me a chance to fix it." I opened the door, letting the cool night air spill in. "Yeah, you had all the chances in the world, and you chose nostalgia over honesty. Now you can choose what's next." I thought that was the end of it. She'd either leave quietly or keep begging until exhaustion forced her out. What I didn't expect was her ex to suddenly reappear and invite it into the story. The morning after she left, my phone buzzed with a message from a number I didn't recognize. At first I was going to ignore it, but something about the preview, "Hey, this is going to sound weird," made me tap it open. It was him, her ex, the same one she had been reuniting with on her story. He wrote, "Look, man, I think you should know. She's been reaching out to me for weeks. I never wanted to get in the middle of your relationship, but last night crossed a line. She showed up saying she wanted to catch up, but it was obvious she had other intentions. I didn't post that story. She grabbed my phone. I figured you'd want to know." I just stared at the screen, the words hammering into my chest like nails. I had suspected there was more to it than she admitted, but reading confirmation from him, it changed everything. I replied simply, "Thanks for being honest." Not 10 minutes later, he responded. For what it's worth, I shut her down. I told her I wasn't interested. I actually thought you were good for her, but she can't seem to respect that. Sorry, man. That was the final piece of the puzzle. It wasn't about me overreacting or her making a small mistake. It was her actively shopping for nostalgia while trying to keep me in her pocket as the safety net. Later that evening, she came storming back into the apartment like nothing had happened, expecting me to still be brooding in the corner, waiting for her to throw scraps of apology. She froze when she saw me calmly packing the last of her things into a box. "What are you doing?" she demanded, her voice tight. "Finishing what I started," I said without even looking up. Her voice rose higher, that panicked edge creeping back. "You're seriously still mad after everything I said last night?" "I told you I was sorry." I set the box down and looked her dead in the eye. I talked to him. that wiped the smugness clean off her face. You? Ain't you what? I talked to your ex, the one you accidentally reunited with. Funny thing, he said you'd been reaching out for weeks. Funny thing, he said you grabbed his phone to post that story. Funny thing, he said he turned you down. Her face went pale, lips trembling. She couldn't form words fast enough to cover the truth. I crossed my arms. So tell me, was that part also a mistake? Or are we finally done pretending? The silence that followed was all the answer I needed. The silence between us stretched like a wire about to snap. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, like the truth was caught in her throat. Finally, she stammered, I didn't mean for it to go that far. I just wanted to feel something familiar. I raised an eyebrow. Familiar? You wanted to feel familiar? So you messaged your ex for weeks and tried to sneak back into his life behind my back? That's not nostalgia, that's disrespect. Her face twisted in frustration. You don't get it. You're always so calm, so steady. Sometimes it feels like you don't even need me. You made me feel exciting again. Like I mattered. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because of how absurd it all sounded. So you'd rather be someone's chaos than my peace. Interesting choice. That set her off. Oh, stop acting like you're perfect. You think walking away makes you the bigger person? It just proves you never loved me enough to fight for this. That line almost got me because I had fought for months, maybe years for us. But fighting for someone who was already searching for the exit wasn't noble. It was exhausting. I shook my head slowly. No, I did love you enough. That's why it hurts. But love without respect is a slow death, and I refuse to die by inches in this relationship. Her voice cracked, the anger slipping into desperation. Don't do this, please. I'll block him. I'll delete every message. I'll prove it to you. Just don't walk away. You're the best thing I've ever had. For a moment, I felt a pang of old affection trying to surface. But then I remembered the message on my phone. The smug way she dismissed me when she got caught. The story she posted to make me jealous. That affection turned to ash. I picked up the duffel bag, the one with her essentials already packed in, placed it by the door. Prove it to yourself, not to me, because I'm done being your safety net. Tears spilled down her cheeks, but I stayed steady. She tried again, clinging to the frame of the door like it would anchor her. You're going to regret this. You'll never find someone who knows you like I do. I looked her straight in the eyes and said, I hope you're right. Because if the person I find knows me like you do, and still chooses to treat me better, then I'll know I finally found the right one. Her breath hitched, and she couldn't find another word. For the first time, I saw her realize that my silence wasn't a bluff. My duffel bag wasn't an empty threat, and my calm wasn't weakness. I walked past her without another glance. The sound of the door closing behind me was louder than any shouting match we could have had. The next few days were strangely quiet. I half expected my phone to blow up with her calls, texts, and tearful apologies. And yes, she tried, but I muted everything. Each buzz was a reminder that I'd finally drawn a line she never thought I'd draw. Walking into my apartment, I noticed how light it felt. The air didn't carry tension anymore. No more checking over my shoulder to see if she was hiding something. No more decoding mixed signals. It's just me, my space, and silence. The kind of silence that heals instead of suffocates. A week later, mutual friends reached out. Apparently, she'd been spinning the story. I was controlling. I abandoned her, and I overreacted to something harmless. But then, screenshots of her own posts and messages started circulating, proof that she wasn't the victim she painted herself to be. Her credibility crumbled, and with it, the sympathy she was chasing. She even tried one last Hail Mary, a long email, full of dramatic lines about how she was broken, how she needed me, how no one else could ever complete her. It should have tugged at me, but instead, it felt manipulative, like another performance. I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, but because closure doesn't always come from words exchanged. It comes from actions. And my action was staying gone. With time, I started focusing on myself again, hitting the gym more consistently, reconnecting with friends I'd unintentionally drifted from while constantly managing her moods, picking up hobbies I'd shelved. Every step reminded me of how much I had given up just to keep a relationship alive that was already on life support. The irony? The freedom I felt wasn't just about being single, it was about reclaiming my energy. I wasn't pouring it into someone who saw me as a backup plan or a stability blanket. I was investing it back into me. Months later, I heard she tried to patch things up with her ex, the same one she'd gone behind my back with. That lasted all of 3 weeks before he blocked her. After that, she floated between rebound flings, posting cryptic captions about self-love and growth. Meanwhile, my life kept moving. My career advanced, my circle tightened, and for the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely at peace. People often talk about heartbreak as if it's the worst thing in the world. But sometimes, heartbreak is just the exit sign you needed to finally leave a burning building. Looking back, I don't regret a thing. Not the trust I gave her, not the chances I offered, and certainly not the decision to walk away. Because in the end, she taught me something invaluable. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they show you they don't value you, don't waste time proving your worth. Just pack the bag, close the door, and never look back. If you've made it this far, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.